Hello guys, first of all I welcome you all to this interview question series, and we are seeing some of the important interview question related to the advanced Excel, and we already completed the 3 sets of it, and we are in the set 4. So let's get started. So the first question for the today's session is, how would you use the index and match function together to perform two-way lookup in the Excel? Okay, when it comes to lookup, it is the most important part into the whole advanced Excel workflow, and there are many functions are available with respect to the lookup. As we know that there is a VLOOKUP is there, HLOOKUP is there, index and match will also there, and we will use the index and match to perform the lookup as well. The thing is that index and match are the separate functions are there, right? And we will use in combination of this function to look up the values. So we all know that VLOOKUP has some disadvantages. What is the disadvantages of VLOOKUP? It can't look up the value on the right hand side. So it is a unidirectional. So in order to just overcome this thing, we have some index and match are there. So how index will work? So index will return the element at specified positions. And how can we specify the position? By using the rows and column. So basically it will take the argument something like a range we want to give, right? It will take some range like table array, then what is a row number, what is a column number. So the intersections of that rows and column, whatever the value is there, it will be fetched out with respect to the index functions we have. In other hand, match will return the index of specified element, right? So how exactly the match will work? So it will first take a lookup value, which value to look up, where to look up, right? In which array to look up, and match type, whether you want approximate match or exact match. Clear? So if I specified this kind of argument, then it will fetch me the index of that particular we can say values. Clear? So let's just practically see how those functions will work. We also seen how to just do the two-way lookup into the index and match. Let me just go into the workbook I have right now with me. It's a questions one I have, and there is some data I have with respect to the index and match. So I have a ID is there, which is a unique identifier, then product name is there, then product ID is there, and their sales is there, right? So pretty simple data I have with respect to me. So I wanted to just fetch whatever the, let me just take, if I just give the ID, I wanted to know how much sales I got for each of that product. I wanted to know the sales, right? I wanted to know the sales. Pretty simple problem statement. Let's suppose I am giving something like 5 or 105, right? I wanted to know how much sales for the 105 ID product is, right? For that purpose, we can utilize the VLOOKUP as well, but for this instance, I am just going with the index and match. So equals to, just start with the index, right? Array means what? A reference. So table reference is something like this one for me, right? Let me just control shift down, control backspace, right? Array is given right now. Then we have a row number. So actually the row number is changing depending on the ID, yes or no, right? So let me just take the help of match right now to just find out whatever that changing row number is. So in the match, we can specify which value to look up. Let's just look up the ID, right? Where to look up this ID into the ID column. Let me just control shift down, control backspace, right? And match type, I want the exact match right now. Okay, and we can just also take the column number. So internally, whatever the array you have selected has some number, right? ID has 1 number, product name has 2, product ID has 3, and sales is 4. So I want the sales, so that's why I'm taking the 4 here. And let's just close this stuff, and let me press these things. I am getting 22.36 set, something like sales are there, and it is correct. For 105, I am getting this kind of sales. Let me just change 105 to something like 102. Let's just press enter. All those values are updated right now, and we are getting the updated value here. This is how index and match will work. So we can do the two-way lookup as well. What is meant by two-way lookup? We can just reverse look up the things. Right now what I wanted to do is that based on the product ID value, I wanted to fetch the product name, right? So the lookup value is in the, the value I wanted to find out is in the left hand side of the area. So what I'm trying to do here is that let me just take the first product ID product ID, right? And let me just take any product ID, something like FURCH. Then let me just take it into the proper format. Then we have CH, and again we have some number is there, 10000 and 2774. okay, this is the number I have, and based on that product ID I wanted to fetch its name, right? I wanted to know the product name. So how can I write the formula for that? Let me just write the formula. Equals to, just starts with index array. I wanted to give the array first. This is the array I have right now with me, right? Control shift down, control backspace, then row number. Row number is changing depending on the product ID. That's why I'm taking the help of match functions. Match, lookup value, look up the product value. Where to look up? In the product ID column. In the product ID column, let me just control shift down, control backspace. Again, match type, I want exact match because it's a numerical value. Then also we have a column number. So which column I want? I want the second column, right? And let's just complete whatever the formulas or functions we have and press enter, right? Press enter. So okay, so first of all let me just take what is the thing we have right now here. Okay, so lookup value something like this, and I'm just going with the, okay, so let me just take the product ID something like which is there. So off hyphen something like bi hyphen, then we can take 1/3656, right? So maybe it is not correct. Let me just take any of the things. Let me just control C those stuff and control V those things. I am getting the proper name here. Okay, so the value you are looking for should be exactly matched, right? So if it is like any digit is missing, anything is missing, then it won't find the result. Clear? So for this thing we get it, we get the corresponding product name. Let me just try out for the different values. Let me just go this one of ST, and there are some 604 is there. Let me just control C those stuff and control V those things. I am getting those record as well. So this is how we can just take the two lookup features as well with respect to the index and match, and it is very powerful function in the advanced Excel. So that's all for this thing. Let me just move forward with the other question I have for the day. Explain how we can use Excel to perform a linear regression analysis. What are the steps involved? Okay, so when I want to do some statistical analysis, so basic statistical algorithm is linear regressions. If you have a version which is greater than 2019, we can utilize those features of linear regressions or statistical analysis into the Excel as well. But right now I don't have that 2019 feature, so exactly I can't perform those regression analysis right now, but I can just convey how to perform the regression analysis with respect to the Excel you have, right? So it is used to find the relationship between the independent and dependent variable, predicting the values. So independent variable and dependent variable are something like related to the ML concepts, where we have one we have many variables are there, and we also have one dependent variable is there, which is something like a target variable we can take, right? Target variable, let's suppose we have a area is there for the house and the price of the house is there. So area of the house is something like an independent variable and the price is something like a dependent variable. And if I have that continuous data, then we can utilize the linear regression algorithm to just do the kind of predictions we have, right? So where we can find those kind of things into the Excel, in the Go data, in the data analysis we have some regression options is there. We can just enable those regression operations and give them something like dependent and independent variable, and set some parameters, something like what is the confidence interval you want, the residual, something like that. And let's just click all those default options and click OK. After that it will ready for you to give the predictions with respect to the data you have, right? There are some methods are there to get the component of it. So let me just go here right now and introduce you to the notions of linear regressions. So let's suppose if I have a continuous data, I can plot here with respect to the X and Y axis, right? This is the X axis I have, this is the Y axis I have, right? if I just plot those data, let's plot those data right now. Let's suppose this is the data I have with me, maybe this kind of a data I have, and I wanted to feed the line best fit line. I wanted to just fit the best fit line. And why I wanted to fit the best fit line and find out the best fit line is that I wanted to do the predictions. I wanted to do the prediction with respect to that. And the equation of line is something like, we all know what is the equation of line. Y is equals to something like mx plus c, and in the ml terms it is called beta nod, right? Beta nod plus beta 1 x1, beta 1 x1. It's a simple linear regressions we have. Beta nod is something like intercept we have. This is the intercept, this is the y-intercept, and what is the beta 1 x1? So beta 1 is something like one coefficient we have, and x1 is my independent variable, and we can utilize those relationship to find out the predictions, or we can make some predictions. Let's suppose there is one unknown point is there right here in the x, right? We can just predict by using the linear regression. So here is the point is there, we can just plot it, and we can say that okay, this is the y value we give. This is the overall notion of all those linear regressions, we have, and we can utilize those options. Okay, so let's move forward with the other questions we have. Explain the offset function in Excel. So it is pretty evident that whenever you are going with respect to the advanced Excel interview questions, there must be one question regarding to the offset, right? So the offset is a very good functionality we have. So what is offset? It is used to create the dynamic ranges that can automatically expand or contract based on the data changes, useful for charting or complex data models, right? And this is the syntax of offset we have. It will first take the arrays we have or reference we have, then rows, columns, and height and width, and it will just adjust according to the data changes. Let me just directly go into the workbook and let's just try it out by ourselves. So let me just take one scenario where I wanted to compute something like the sum of the numbers in the column A, right? Let's suppose I am taking only one number here right now, and I wanted to compute the sum. So how can I compute the sum? So let me just select equals to sum functions I have, and I'm selecting whatever the range I have. Right now it is only say cell A1, right? And let me just press enter. So I'm getting 1. So let's suppose I wanted to add some numbers right now, 2, 3, 4, something like that, but these will not change. So sum is not changing because the range is fixed. So range is fixed. So I wanted to manually adjust the range into the function. So let me just adjust the range. Right now it is A1, so I want A1 to something like A5, right? So that this range will be selected right now. But the thing is that instead of making the changes again and again, we can just utilize the functions called offset to dynamically change the range. How can I do that? Let's first just go with respect to the default position I have right now. Let me just compute the sum, right? And in the sum, let me just first take the offset function. Offset function will take the reference. Let me just take the reference as a column only, right? And then rows are 0, columns are 0. This is the initial position I have. This is the fixed initial positions. And then height and width. And height and width change according to the values we have. Basically the height. So height will change based on the element. For that purpose, I can use the count a function, right? And in the count a function, I am just giving the column reference only, and after that width is 1 because there is one column involved, and let me just press enter here. Okay, and yes, I'm just going with the whatever the changes you have, right? Let me just add some numbers here, 2, 3, 4, and the sum is updating right now because my range is dynamic, not statics. This is how we can just employ this offset function to create the dynamic ranges. Clear, guys? So this is we have with respect to offset we have, right? So this is how we will use the offset in the various scenario for charting as well, where we have a continuous changing data is there. Definitely we can go with respect to the offset. Clear, guys? So that's it we have for the day, guys, right? We will meet in the next sets where we discuss the more interview questions related to the advanced Excel. Till then, practice all of these steps, get the clear understanding. Have a nice day.